Well, I think in a season of damning displays, that one takes top spot for Norwich City. Crystal Palace 3, Norwich City 0 at Selhurst Park. Norwich City once again managing to find even lower lows in a season that has just been catastrophic. Not only short term, but I think we'll be seeing long term effects from this season. The starting 11 was probably one of the worst Premier League teams on paper that Norwich City have ever fielded, if not any team have ever fielded. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone here. I'm not sure that I want to relive that team news, but I will anyway. A defence made up of Sam Byram at right back, Jakob Sorensen, Ben Gibson and Dimitri Anulis. Angus Gunn, of course, in goal. Now, the caveat to all of this is, of course, that Norwich City are suffering injuries and also COVID cases. It's probably worth noting as well that Crystal Palace had about 6 starting players out, including Wilf Zaha through suspension, and other COVID cases, Eze, MacArthur, Gallagher, all out. So both teams suffering, and at this point, not really an excuse for Norwich City. A midfield of Billy Gilmore, Pierre Lemalou and Kenny McLean, 2 of them players, summer recruits, neither of them making an impact so far this season, and a front 3 of Christos Jolis, Adam Eder and Puemiswa Poeta that would probably look fairly average in a championship side, and yet that's what we're going to battle with in the Premier League. And this isn't necessarily it is. This is a criticism of certain individuals out there who have consistently underperformed at Premier League level, and because of certain situations, continue to keep their place. Billy Gilmore has left a lot to be desired and hasn't impacted games as much as we probably hoped, and certainly hasn't been an adequate replacement for Oliver Skipp. Lemalou drifts in and out of games. Kenny McLean is a championship player. Adam Eder is a championship player. Puemiswa Poeta has found plaudits in recent weeks because he actually runs, but there is no end product with Puemiswa. I'm sure he's a lovely fella, but yet to score, yet to assist. You have to be making more of an impact than that. Christos Jolis hasn't had an ideal start to his Norwich City career with injuries and isolation from the squad, and I think he had a bout of COVID as well, didn't he? But was absolutely dreadful against Crystal Palace. Dimi Anulis was okay today, and I think has probably been one of our best players this season, but was pulled at half-time through injury. Ben Gibson isn't looking like a Premier League player at the moment. Jakob Sorensen, is he a centre-back? Probably not. Sam Byram, I thought, was actually quite good against Crystal Palace, but that was his first Premier League start in 2 years, and Angus Gunn has now conceded 8 goals in 2 games, so work for him. And unfortunately, Norwich City are now basically halfway through the season and have picked up 10 points in the Premier League. I mean, that is an embarrassing return, whatever way you look at it, and I think we're probably fortunate to have that many points on the board. It was an absolute howler of a goalkeeping performance in the win against Southampton. The win against Brentford was hard fought. We've picked up a couple of points here and there, but the performances just have been nowhere near consistent enough. In the month of December, we've gone without scoring a single goal. Not one goal in the month of December, a month that is congested with festive fixtures, and we've somehow got through it, not even looking like scoring a goal. And you're just trying to find certain things to cling on to. And I think going into today, certainly prior to the team news, it was like, okay, well, Palace are going to be without their best players. Can Norwich City just find something to maybe even just pick up a point and stop the rot? And then you concede after 7 minutes. Now, it was a soft penalty. I think we've probably had them ones go against us this season, and that is unfortunate, but the lead up to that penalty wasn't unfortunate. There were multiple opportunities in that passage of play to either keep possession or just get rid of the ball, and we did neither. And unfortunately, when you're in the Premier League, opposition teams, whether they're full strength or not, will take advantage of that. Other than Norwich City, we won't take advantage of opposition mistakes. So you're suddenly behind after 7 minutes and you don't score goals. There's only one outcome to this game, and it's a Crystal Palace win. And Norwich City need to find a way to score goals without Teemu Pukki. You see the starting 11 today without Teemu Pukki, who scored 5 of our 8 Premier League goals this season, and go, where are the goals coming from? It's not coming from Adam Ida. It's not coming from Poeta because he's got no end product. And I don't really know if Christos Jolis has got it in him either. And then you look at the midfield. Have we got a powerhouse from the midfield, a Bradley Johnson type player who can maybe turn up? And you look at that and go, no, not really. And then you look at the defence. Have we got a towering centre-back to leap from set pieces and score? And you go, no, we haven't. So then you've suddenly gone through the whole 11 and you don't have a goal threat. Now, if you don't have a goal threat and your defence are leaking goals at will, then you're looking towards your midfield to just keep the ball and battle hard and win second balls and just keep composure. And we don't have that either. We've got a player in Billy Gilmore who's consistently giving up possession, Kenny McLean, who's got mistakes in him, and Leymelu, who just hasn't impacted games enough this season. You've got an 11 there that are simply not good enough. And even if you had a Teemu Pukki and a Todd Cantwell and whoever else in that team, I don't think they would cut it either. And suddenly we're in a position where we've spent £60 million in the summer and we're fielding a starting 11 that absolutely is nowhere near the standard of what we were playing in the Championship. Now, I know there are situations of Buendia going and Oliver Skipp going, and to a certain level that's beyond Norwich City's control. But we've really, really thrown money up the wall here. And this is going to hurt us long term. We're not going down with a firing Pukki. We're not going down with an informed Buendia. We're not going down with a brilliant Cantwell. It's likely these players will leave. And suddenly you're left with players who are on big money, have been signed for big wages. They don't want to be playing Championship football. Now, it should be where they're applying their trade because they're certainly not doing it in the Premier League. But it's unlikely that they will. And Norwich City now have to probably plan for Championship football. The baffling thing with all of this, though, is that Norwich City is still only 3 points adrift. That almost makes it more frustrating. Yes, Leeds and Burnley and teams like that have got games in hand on us due to the way that COVID has panned out. But Norwich is still in this. Norwich is still in with a chance of Premier League survival. And yet, none of the players look up for it. At all. Passengers throughout the whole of that 90 minutes. Not winning second balls, not keeping the ball, not commanding any type of performance from their peers. And that's kind of expected when you see the 11 that we fielded today. They are players that have just been thrown together, partly due to COVID and partly due to injuries. But I'm bored of that excuse now. 5-0 against Arsenal. You need a reaction from that. It was poor, really poor against Arsenal. Give me something to get excited about. Give me a goal. Give me 20 minutes of good play. Give me a solid defensive performance. Anything. One of them things. And we got nothing. Which leaves Norwich in a really perilous position. Because there's nothing to kind of grip onto. We haven't got we haven't got the new manager bounce to cling on to anymore. We haven't scored a goal in a whole month. We're not keeping clean sheets, and there's a big turnaround needed. We need signings as well in January. We need a player that will score goals. We're not going to spend 15-20 million pounds in the January transfer window, which would give us some kind of chance of survival, because one, it's not the way we operate, and we've already spent a lot of money this season. And where's it got us? Well, it's got us 10 points on the board and some fairly disastrous performances. So do you trust the current setup to, if they were given £20 million to spend it correctly? I'm not sure. I probably would, based on historic Premier League recruitment. So there's a lot to worry about for Norwich, and this isn't just a this season thing. I don't think Norwich City go down this season with the guarantee of coming straight back up. Now, that's a conversation that we can have along the line. There is still football to be played in the Premier League. There's still half a season to be played. But you look at a team with 10 points on the board in December not scoring goals, you'd be a bit of a mug to think that they could survive. So not just this performance in isolation, but I think the performance ever since that Manchester United game, where I must say we still lost. I think we're talking about it like it was some gargantuan kind of result. We lost 1-0. We didn't score that day. We haven't scored today. We haven't scored against Arsenal. Multiple failings going on at this football club at the moment. And on current form, only heading in one direction, and that's not Premier League football next season. If you travelled to Selhurst Park, I admire you. I wouldn't have done it myself. I didn't do it myself. And I hope, for your sake, you had a good day in some capacity, whether it was the beer or the London air, I don't know. I just hope you found some kind of joy on this bleak December day. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.